card for oral communications, Herbert Milano.
Good afternoon. My name is Herbert Milano, agency members and city staff. Last week I presented my views with regard to the need for the city to evaluate its various different plans and to execute on the plans that it has. My concern was that the plans that were written back in 1996 concerning the Greater Downtown Strategic Plan were really never put into effect. And I also mentioned to you that part of that plan, of which the redevelopment agency is comprised, at least a subset of it, addresses the issues of parkland. And I guess you can say that during the past year and a half or two, ever since the Americana issue, I've become a student of environmental impact reports and have become more apprised on CEQA law and how it is that we prepare those reports, how they are submitted, and what kind of evaluations we make from it. And what struck me of interest is that the downtown-specific plan had missing information with regard to recreational planning area 6, which is right smack as part of the regular redevelopment area. No information was there in the downtown-specific plan concerning this particular recreational area that has 17,000 residents, according to the projection for 2010. So I've decided to ask around and see if I could find a more updated report. Here it is. And if this looks new to you, it's very likely that you really haven't seen it, because very few people have actually seen this report that was created 2 years ago. It's in color. It's got the various different regional areas. The red areas are the most in need in terms of recreational parkland. Now, you would imagine that this topic would be more appropriate for Parks and Rec, but the topic with regard to building and construction increases in the area does impact how these particular areas are going to address the need for recreational areas for those residents. And so I looked at the information concerning Verdugo Gardens, and there are about 68 children that are expected to become residents there, and those children will have needs for recreation, and as well as their grandpas as well, and kids who might be joining AYSO, for example. And where is that taking place? Down in this area. And according to the Area 10, it says here that there will be expected nearly 32,000 residents with an existing park acreage for all the 32,000 of roughly 0.55 of an acre for everybody. And what's contrasting to me is that we have another area here with 10,000 residents and 71 acres for those 10,000 residents. And unless you are given, or unless someone prepares the information so that it's comparative, or at least show a trend as to where we were 10 years ago to where we are now, how can then we accept those particular reports as being sufficient, or at least to have those reports for the purpose of planning for the future, as opposed to reacting, to the problems. This is the only copy I have, but I would like to have the city clerk present them to you. The second suggestion that I have is that those environmental impact reports are quite wordy, and they come around 400, 500 pages of information. And it would be nice to get a summary of those environmental impact reports, especially as it pertains to the redevelopment area, so that we can, in a summary way, assess the impacts readily, so that within 2 or 3 pages we can get a full, all-encompassing view. Mr. Weaver, are you exasperated? I see you're sighing.
No, I'm not feeling that hot.
I see. Okay. And so the idea of having quality reports, summary reports that allows the general public to assess the impact of all of these projects, so that we can come back to you and say, City Council, we have significant problems that haven't been addressed for years on end. And it is my hope that we have yearly updates on the objectives that the city stated are going to be made to mitigate those problems that are basically disclosed in those EIRs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So perhaps the best way to balance this, because parkland and land is so expensive, is to subsidize people to move to the blue area of the city, and then we'll strike a balance.
Sure,
That
they
was a
can-
joke for anybody.
Busing.
They live up
yes.
in the mountains.
Mr. City Manager.
Well, just a note, Mr. Chair, members of the agency, every EIR that I have looked at has an executive summary and a table summary that lists all of the various areas that are evaluated and the level of environmental impacts and whether or not and to what extent they are able to be mitigated. Now, maybe there's one that slipped by me, but every one I've seen has an executive summary that's relatively brief, as well as that table that lists every evaluated impact and its condition under CEQA. Just an observation.
Thank you. All right. Mr. City Clerk, if you will.
Mr. Chair, at 6A is Director of Development Services regarding Alex Regional Theater Art Board quarterly report and year-end statement and report on bid proposals received as part of the long-term maintenance and capital project specification numbers R32 and R33. At 6A1 is motion accepting the quarterly report and final year-end financial statements for the period ending June 30, 2007, and ordering them filed with the Director of Development Services.
Should we go to Mr. Lanzafame?
At 6A2.
Oh, we're going to read all of them now? All right.
Motion accepting the following two lowest responsible bidders for the Alex Regional Theater Orchestra Shell Upgrade Project. This is spec numbers R32, LA ProPoint Inc., Phase 1 acquisition and installation of protective walls in an amount not to exceed $36,024.40, including contingency. Wenger, Phase 2, manufacture and installation of acoustic walls in an amount not to exceed $57,524.22, including contingency. At 6A3 is motion accepting the lowest responsible bid from Color Concepts for pressure washing, repairing, cleaning, and painting the south side of the historic Alex Theater, spec number R33, in an amount not to exceed $18,040, including contingency.
Do any of my colleagues have questions?
Let's
I'll make a motion.
hold on a second here. Let's go to Mr. Lanzafame for a moment.
Mr. Chair, members of the agency, I'd like to introduce Elena Bobolian. She's the project manager in our office that oversees the Alex, or is the liaison with the Alex, and she can give you a brief report and answer any questions you might have.
Before you give your brief report, let me ask if there are questions.
I only have one for her.
Okay.
I only have a general question, not specific to the estimates or the bids.
Do I have a consensus as to whether or not we want to hear a full report?
I don't. I read the report, but I'll ask my question when it's appropriate.
No, I don't think I need the floor.
All right, then let's ask the question instead.
Okay, on the orchestra shell, two bidders, and one is so much higher than the other. Did you look at the breakdown of the bid to ascertain why one was bidding another $9,000 higher? It's a 25% increase.
For the orchestra, agency member Weaver and members of the agency, the orchestra shell project, there is no product that exists, so these folks had to manufacture and design these, the orchestra shell, both pieces. And so it just all depends on their expertise and the products that they chose to design this orchestra shell project on. And so both Jack Alloway, the theater director, and myself looked at all the bids, looked at the drawings, and we felt that Wenger Company, because of their past experience at the theater and because they were the lowest responsible, we felt most comfortable going with
I
them.
got busy today, but I was going to call and ask, because if you gave them the specs on what you wanted, using similar materials, same construction techniques, I was trying to figure where in the bid you'd see that big a difference.
And we didn't provide them. We just gave them a general idea of what we needed. So it was really up to them to
So
design
some could have
a piece.
used totally different products, whatever, and you're convinced that the low one will give the same ending effect as the high one.
Exactly.
Okay.
This particular project is something that there isn't a widget that fits specifically into that need. So, and Wenger is a very well-known outfit. that supplies this kind of thing.
My question perhaps should be directed to Barry McComb.
Okay, but then let me just ask before we do that. Mr. Montero, do you have a question before we go to Mr. McComb?
Mr.
Spent your life around acoustic walls?
Oh, acoustic walls, yes, I understand. Okay. Thank you. Can we have Barry up here? Or just walls in general? You spend a lot of time around walls.
Hi, Barry.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'd just like to know how the Alex is doing, and what my impression is that we are getting better with the bookings. And
It was in the newspaper today. Did you read?
I don't read the newspaper anymore. And I'd like to know what, I don't know if you could describe the best case scenario. What would be our goal in terms of the best type of use of the Alex? Would it be a big booking every weekend, or many small bookings? And how close are we to our optimal usage of the Alex?
Okay. Mr. Chair and members of the agency, actually, that's a great question, very timely. As you probably are aware from reading some of our past reports, back in December 2005, the Art Board adopted a 5-year business and operations plan, which actually addresses the question that you just asked. And we kind of divided the direction we're going into 3 different phases. The first phase, which we actually just completed with the close of our current fiscal year, was really focused on getting our house in order, improving our financial base, and this year that we just finished up is our second year in a row that we've ended the year with a cash surplus. We've been able to start to build up our cash reserve accounts so that as we kind of face those unforeseeable surprises that raise their head, we're not in a position to always have to come back to the city to ask to be bailed out. We're able to deal with those things internally instead. Another piece of that was undertaking our first extensive market research study of our patron base. And we hired a very well-respected outside consultant who's really worked over the last 12 months with us. We're just now getting that report, which will be presented to our board the middle of this month when the consultant comes out. And what that's really going to tell us is really what our patron base wants to see and is willing to come out and support. But programming the theater is kind of, it's at 2 different levels. One is that you want to deliver presentations that match the wants and desires of your potential audience, but at the same time, as a performing arts entity, we also have an obligation to challenge and kind of further educate our audiences. So as far as a perfect mix would be one of both, bringing attractions that people maybe are not as familiar with together with a mix of attractions that they are familiar with and have expressed a desire to see. Currently, the theater pretty much is busy every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In fact, our Maria Sahakian, who does our bookings for us, told me there's just a handful of Saturdays left in this coming year. So we're booking farther and farther out in advance. The challenge that really exists for us as far as maximizing the total opportunity that days that the theater represent is finding attractions to fill up those midweek dates. And by that I mean Monday through Thursday. We've been increasingly successful in attracting businesses to bring business meetings to the theater, usually general sessions. Sometimes it's difficult because we don't have smaller breakout space, but we believe that with the addition of some of the discussed hotel projects that will be in close proximity to the theater, that when those come online, that will provide us with the partnership opportunities with those venues and increase our ability to attract midweek business in that fashion. We've also been very successful with film shoots that tend to take place during the Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday time period. In fact, we have one at the theater today. So we're looking for kind of new ways to utilize some of the less popular days that are not being taken by performances that are open to the public.
I had a discussion with the director of the Media City Ballet, who couldn't stop singing the praises of the Alex. That made me happy. And I also want to know, it seems recently we've been developing a use for the courtyard of the Alex for more and more types of functions. We had the California Transportation Commission reception there. Last week there was a cognac reception. Is that something that that works for you, or is it more of a nuisance to do that? Is it productive?
It actually works for us on a couple of levels. Is one, those are events that tend to take place on our quiet days, and two, they tend to bring people to the theater that might not otherwise be there. So we kind of hope that when they come to a reception that they kind of discover us at the same time. Our building committee just a couple of weeks ago met and is starting to undertake a project where we're looking at ways to enhance our forecourt to make it more usable for those types of activities. It tends to get rather hot there, so we're going to be looking at some sort of sunscreen system to cover it. We're looking into a sound drape to put across the front gate to block out the street noise, and just try to create a much more attractive environment for those types of events.
It really is a nice usage that maybe was in front of us all the time, and we didn't really recognize the
It's always been
potential.
used at certain levels. I would say certainly in the last year, more outside groups are discovering it. Over the years, we've had weddings there and, kickoff events, but certainly it's much busier now than what it's been before. As part of our efforts to take our concessions operation in-house, we're also looking to enter into partnerships with a variety of downtown restaurants so that we have a broader scope of catering options that we can offer to potential rental users that would be interested in using the forecourt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions?
I just wonder what cognac reception you knew about, none of us knew
You
about.
didn't get the memo?
Actually, I have one last item, if I
We
could,
sent it
please.
to the
Absolutely.
assessor's office, address of record, Mr. Weaver.
Today, hot off the press, is the newest official annual report for our last completed year. So you're going to be the first recipients
It's in
of
black
this.
and
So
white.
this is a piece which we distribute to people that currently fund the theater, potential funders, key members of the community, certainly yourselves, members of the Arts Commission, and it really is a capsuled look at all of our activities plus our financial results from the last fiscal year. So,
But it's in black and white.
That's because there's no red ink.
that's right. We're in the black. Thank you very much.
That's good.
Thank you, Barry. All right.
Now may I?
Now
Do you need a motion for that?
Yeah. Can I make it now?
Yes.
I'd like to move 6A, 1, 2, and 3.
Have a second.
Second. And let me just comment that, once again, Barry, I think, is just doing a wonderful job, and among other things, what really gets me is I literally don't remember going to a Alex function that he's not there. So I'm hoping he actually hasn't taken up residence somewhere in the in the theater, because he's there I've been there on a couple of functions that are somewhat small in size, and there he was. So anyway, Barry, just good job all the way around.
Since we're throwing out compliments, at the Relay for Life this weekend, Barry was there, and I understand the Alex took care of all the stage management and technical assistance, and it was a long 24 hours. I know Barry and everyone else in the back were there, so we appreciate that.
And just to answer the question, Barry does live there.
Phantom of the Opera.
I think so. It's one of those situations. Okay, we have
Phantom of the Alex?
a motion, Phantom of the Alex, a motion and a second. Mr. Kasakian.
Agency members Najarian,
Yes.
Quintero,
Yes.
Weaver,
Aye.
Chairman Yusefian, Vice Chair Draymond.
Yes. We have the next item, please.
At 6B is Director of Development Services regarding installation of additional signage for BJ's Restaurant and Brewery located at 101 North Brand City Center. At B1 is motion approving sign variances based upon findings and conditions made pursuant to Glendale Municipal Code, Section 30.43.
Very good. Who do we go to on this, Phil?
If you want.
Mr. Chairman, members of the agency, last May, you saw stage 1 and 2 of a facade improvement for BJ's. This is at the northwest corner of Brand and Broadway. As part of that, they showed you some additional signage that they would like to come back and ask you for. So this is the second part of that request. Generally speaking, it is the signage that says Restaurant and Brew House that's on either side, and some of their iconic signs that will be, again, on the facade at Brand and Broadway. In your packets, it shows a lined backdrop, if you will, that is supporting these signs. They've actually changed the design so that it will be the same material, and I don't know if you can remember, it'll be the same material that was on the corner that had the big BJ sign. They'll carry that material through on the side. Our principal urban designer, Alan Loomis, has not seen it yet, but it is consistent with what you saw in that first iteration. If you like, I believe BJ's has a sample or a packet with you of the design. We just got word of this yesterday.
Actually, there's like several color copies, but there's some black and white as well.
It's just what we have in our staff report.
Is this what we have in our packet?
It's a little bit different.
Hi, I'm Mark Griffith. I'm with BJ's Restaurants, and actually what we did is we were looking through their signage package. We were getting ready. These are actually our shop drawings for the signage, and when I reviewed the signage originally, I did not think that the design was consistent with the elevations of the restaurant, and I felt that it needed to be upgraded. So we did change the design. Basically what we have done is it was almost like a theater marquee before, and I felt it was reading too much as a theater marquee. So I kept the same lettering, the same backlit lettering, the light box. I just merely changed the surface to take out the horizontal bars for the marquee and added a copper wire mesh to be in front of a light box. It's the same material that we're using for the whole facade, the big monumental element that's outside of the restaurant. So I just wanted to make the design more consistent. What we're also adding also is a small takeout sign over on the Brand Boulevard side that just identifies our takeout door. We really didn't have anything that identified that properly. We just wanted to get something out there. It's a iconic sign that we use on all of our typical restaurants. It just kind of emphasizes the BJ's image. It has a lot of energy. It's a nicely designed sign. It's just not something that's stuck up on the wall. It has some three-dimensional elements to it, and I think it'll just help add to the energy on Brand Boulevard. So if you have any other...
Do I have questions? Mr. Weaver?
Would you like this current design better than what you had?
The one that's presented in front of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Quintero?
On the east elevation, on the Brand Boulevard elevation, the actual signs will go under the current sort of marble facade and so
Yes.
forth?
Mhm.
It actually goes under it, not
Correct.
in front of it?
Right.
Okay. And then, in terms of the takeout, does it have to be that sort of large sign and monument? I'm a little bit... are you anticipating that much business will...
Actually, we're in restaurants in general, we're showing a huge increase in our takeout business. BJ's is like most of the others. It is become a very major part of our business. Actually, 20% of our sales can be accounted to takeout. So we just had it's a different entry than our main entrance, and we just wanted to kind of punch that up and make it.
When someone
significant.
parks in the parking structure, how are they going to get to the restaurant? Do they internally walk into the restaurant, or do they go outside? And
They go outside.
they do have to go outside.
And we actually have 4 spaces that will be dedicated inside the parking structure for carryout. So people that are pulling up just to do takeout will be able to pull in the structure, pick up their food, and leave, and they won't have to pay for parking.
To go to some of the other businesses there, other restaurants and so forth, they generally do go through the interior, if I'm right. But for your
Unfortunately, yeah,
particular
we
one-
just didn't have the opportunity. We had to take people up an odd stairwell and kind of go in the back of house area where
Yeah.
we have to take out our
So they'll be
trash.
they'll
so it's
be
not
walking
really
through the outside.
Yeah, it's not really customer friendly.
Although Islands has difficulty getting to it, Olive Garden has some difficulty getting to it. The other ones on the upper floors, you have to go into the elevator and then through a mezzanine into it. But I think everything on the ground floor, for the most part, you've got to go outside. Islands has an entrance in the parking structure, but it's pretty hard to get to, frankly.
Bill, you had a comment?
I was just going to note the takeout sign itself was approved with the facade improvement. It's the iconic BJs that are being added to
The logos.
the logo
The
there.
BJ logo.
So the takeout sign itself has already been approved. It's the BJs. See.
Mr. Quintero, do you have anything else?
That's a question. Did you say about 20% of sales now
We're
is
showing
takeout?
kind of across the company, almost 20% of our business.
Seen a
is-
growth
We've seen a growth.
here?
Probably in the over the past 5 years, we've seen a steady increase in our takeout business.
Interesting.
We've
I do
seen
have
that with the
another-
contemporary restaurants coming in, Outback, for example. A good portion of their business is takeout. They even have a whole system of cell phone orders and remote people who actually can take your credit card right out on the street. That's why the pickup was so important for them when they evaluated the marketplace.
In parts of Los Angeles, they have people that can take your credit cards right out on the street, too.
Actually,
These
we're
are
actually
different.
We'll soon also be able to have you place your takeout orders online.
Really?
Yeah.
Mr. Griffith, I have a question for you. Coming back to the takeout, once you enter the door specifically for, the entrance specifically for a takeout, once you're inside, where are you that is distinctly different from coming in the main entrance? Other than physically you're in a different area, but I mean, what is specific to the interior of that entranceway?
We actually have a couple of very significant differences. One, immediately as you walk in, there is a counter, a physical takeout counter immediately as you walk in the door. It's also on a different grade level than the main restaurant, and that's just due to the grade change that happens as you go around from Brand to Broadway.
So it is dedicated to
It's
takeout
dedicated.
specifically.
However, you can access the restaurant. You do have to go up a flight of stairs, or we do have a mechanical lift for disabled access from that
I
location.
do have another question. When you mention takeout, you're talking about food and not beer?
Yeah.
Or is beer
Yes.
also?
Yes. I don't think we're allowed to take out beer. However, you can you can purchase bottled six-packs within our restaurants of our beer. But yeah, we don't put it in a little to-go cup. Or anything.
Any other questions or comments? No. All right. And Mr. Griffith, your card here addressing this issue, I assume you've
Yes.
told us what you wanted us to know.
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I think what we might need to do on this motion is just indicate that there was this package submitted that was not reflected. It's on. I'm just speaking quietly. So that what I'm recommending is that we add a little information into the motion that reflects that this new information about the signage rendering has been received today. And so what it will read is that the staff report concerning sign variances for BJ's Restaurant and Brewery located at 101 North Brand Boulevard, and then adding, based on the sign design package submitted on October 2nd, 2007, hereby grants the variances. So we're just adding that little piece to reflect that we did consider and look at this revised
All right.
design piece.
So with that addition, can I
I'll
entertain a
move
motion?
6B1.
In a second?
Second.
All right. Motion being moved and seconded. Mr. Kasakian.
Agency members Draymond? Agency member Najarian?
Yes.
Quintero?
Yes.
Weaver?
Aye.
Chairman Yusefian? Vice Chair Draymond?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Can we move on to the next item?
6C is Director of Development Services regarding installation of a wall sign for Island's Fine Burgers and Drinks Restaurant located at 117 West Broadway City Center. At C1 is a motion approving sign variances based upon findings and conditions made pursuant to Glendale Municipal Code Section 30.43.
I have no cards.
Motion.
Let's go ahead.
In the interest of fair competition, I'll move 6C1.
All right.
Same kind of signage.
Second.
But we're good for both.
Second.
We had a second? All right. Mr. Kasakian, if you would.
Agency members Najarian?
Yes.
Quintero?
Yes.
Weaver?
Aye.
Chairman Yusefian? Vice Chair Draymond?
Yes. Let's go on to item number 7.
Is there any agency member or staff comments?
We have new business.
Okay.
Is there any new business?
Apparently
Yes,
we
we
do.
do.
Yes, we do. Do you have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that General Counsel was authorized to and has initiated legal action against the County of Los Angeles, J. Tyler McCauley, in his official capacity as Auditor Controller of the County of Los Angeles Superior Court Case Number BS 111264, based upon the County Auditor Controller's Office's refusal to accept a revised fiscal year 2006-2007 statement of indebtedness for the San Fernando Road Corridor Redevelopment Project area. The agency counsel is further authorized to incur any and all expenses necessary in connection with said matter.
Second.
All right. Shall we?
Agency members Najarian,
Yes.
Quintero,
Yes.
Weaver,
Aye.
Chairman Yusefian, Vice Chair Draymond.
Yes. And that concludes our business. Do we have a
We
motion?
adjourn.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 3:25.